certainly the best.
Viewers, you're welcome to this episode of The Current. Thank you for joining me. Today's episode is special because we'll be talking about the proposed NERFUND shutdown, which is a matter arising. And I have an international doctor, a doctor of an international institute here to discuss it. But before that, we would take a report from NEWI, from the Amnesty Office, their activities over the weekend. Don't go away. As part of the entrepreneurial drive geared towards creating an enabling environment for the development of the 30,000 agitators' potential in different vocational skills, the federal government, through its Amnesty Office, has created indirect jobs for over 200 Niger Delta agitators in Nigeria. Brigadier General Paul Borough, retired, the special advisor to the President of Niger Delta and coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, disclosed this in NEWI, Anambra State, at the Batch B graduation ceremony of the 200 Niger Delta agitators. The Current TV show was there.
Propelling us to the 57th anniversary of our great country, Nigeria. I'm very proud to be here this afternoon. This celebration that we're talking about is very, very great and very historic, because this is one of the first time ever that in the history of the Niger Delta we have so many beneficiaries graduating at a go. 200 learning automobile engineering. I don't think it has happened this far. We thank God so much for that.
Meanwhile, the project coordinator, Prince Momo Aminu, hailed President Muhammad Buhari for believing in the sustainability of peace in the Niger Delta. Explaining the rationale behind the training, Momo said the idea had been for everyone that participated in the training to have mastering of a particular area, and then everybody now works compulsively towards the end product. So far, the trainees have been exceptional because within a short period they have been able to display capacity in assimilating the theory and practical aspects of the training.
Mr. President has demonstrated on many fronts his interest in the transformation of the Niger Delta, which is seen in the unprecedented budgetary allocation to the Amnesty Office. The appointment of a man of peace, an advocate for sustainable growth in the person of Brigadier General Paul Borough, a peace practitioner, a one-time member of the United Nations mission in Sierra Leone, to anchor this very sensitive and critical national assignment. Since the assumption of the oath of office, General Borough has shown absolute passion for peace, empowerment of the youth, and all-inclusive development in the Niger Delta. This passion has translated into quantum leap in oil production in the Niger Delta. Also, worthy of note is the fact that he has brought about substantial innovation in the administration of the Amnesty Program, leading to more judicious application of funds and more extensive coverage of program beneficiaries. The training of 200 Niger Delta technicians in automobile manufacture who are now engineers and maintenance are here to Atinoson Automobile Factory has once more revealed that Nigeria has credible platform for sector driven.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Academy, Mr. Eddie Ezengwa, commending the performance of the trainees, said out of the 199 candidates that sat for the National Technology Certificate, NTC, from the National Business and Training Examination Board, 195 bagged distinctions, while 4 others made credits. He noted that Innocent Car Manufacturing Company was willing to absorb the graduates with a salary of 60,000, which would be reviewed upwards at the end of a probationary period of 1 year. As a proof of good performance of the trainee, the graduates presented 3 vehicles, a bus, 4x4 wheel drive, and a 32-seater bus, assembled from the scratch to the finish by the S agitators. Joining us, this is the current TV show, and we're just coming from NERFUND, where we attended the event. We had S agitators, 200 of them, who were trained for 9 months, had to display the various vehicles they assembled from scratch. That's so beautiful. I think it's going to help reduce the pressure on the Niger Delta, their quest for oil and the provisions and all that. That's what the federal government is doing to help boost oil production from that area. Then back to what our discussion was for today. It's the federal government shut down NERFUND on October 31st. That's our issue of discussion, the proposed NERFUND shutdown. I'll give you a brief introduction about NERFUND. I'm sure you're wondering what's NERFUND. NERFUND is a National Economic Reconstruction Fund. NERFUND was set up to provide needed medium to long-term financing to viable small and medium-scale production enterprise. It is grand objective to increase the quantum of goods and services available for local consumption and export, provide needed employment, expand production base, and add value to the economy. However, this objective seems to have lost its capacity of fulfillment, as the agency saddled with the responsibility of empowering small and medium-scale industrial enterprises, especially manufacturing and agro-allied enterprises, seem to have met its end as the federal government had moved to completely shut down the development bank by 31st October 2017. Now, more to discuss is that NERFUND was established by Decree number 2 of 1989 to act as a catalyst towards the stimulation of the rapid rise of real production enterprise in the country, with a seed capital of 300 million naira to the agency since inception. That is, since 1989, 300 million was made available to them. However, the agency capital had grown into billions of naira, but due to poor management, the organization had met in its comatose since late 2013, losing its capacity to carry out its mandate owing to the fact that over 17.5 billion naira are in the comfort of few Nigerians. Following the conclusion of the merger of Nigeria Industrial Development Bank, NIDB, and Nigerian Bank of Commerce and Industry, NBCI, to form Bank of Industry of today in 2002, the federal government excluded NERFUND from the fusion of all development finance institutes. However, last year, Development Bank of Nigeria was instituted by the current Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, but it's so unfortunate that they are about to shut down NERFUND. You will also recall that in June 2016, when the staff of NERFUND took to the street to protect the mismanagement of the agency's funds by its administration, the federal government, through the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, intervened by first shutting down the agency following failure to reconcile the differences between the executive management and the entire staff, so as to forestall a further breakdown of law and order. However, about 2 weeks after the shutdown, she officially instructed staff to return to work and appointed Mr. Ezekiel Hussaini in August of the same year to act as the managing director. Just 1 year into his appointment, the federal government has finally approved the winding up of the agency. Well, every attempt to get through to the ministry proved abortive because they refused to respond to this matter. However, the staff has given us hints that this is a decision, and they've been told to either resign or be sacked by October 31st. With me to discuss this very sensitive issue is a lecturer from an international institute, Dr. Damian Ubona. Sir, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
To start up with, NERFUND, like I read earlier, came to being in 1989. And since then, have Nigeria really felt the impact of this agency?
Absolutely not. It's NERFUND is one of those white elephant projects that typically we set up in Nigeria without any sense, any commitment to get it to work. The objective is laudable. Every country that developed infrastructurally and developed their cottage industries definitely did initiate, a finance house, or what you call development finance institutes, through which these objectives are achieved, because typically you don't achieve them from the profit-driven commercial banks. So the whole idea is an international, international practice in developing, economies. Even in developed economies today, like the United States and Europe, you still have similar industries catering for small to medium-sized industries, especially, organizations that are run by families and by individuals, by the private sector. So they're still there and they're still effective. The problem we have in Nigeria is that nothing that we really do is effective, and the reason that they are not effective in Nigeria boils down to the, to the political instability and the political structures of Nigeria. Now, the issue is this: if this is what was set up by the federal government since 1989, and from that 1989 till date, Nigeria has been on a downward trend in terms of economic development. So the point is, you look at it and you wonder why it was there in the first place. If you set up an institution, if you set up anything, any project, any institution to drive commercial activities, to drive industrialization, and you notice that it's not actually having a significant input into the economy, then the best thing to do is to look for something else and wind it down. But you see, when we set up things like this in Nigeria, it is meant primarily to siphon public funds. That is where the problem is. It is meant to siphon public funds, and then because of the way our political system is structured, the governments in power tend to simply use it to promote their own selfish interests by putting people there who are their own people, who cater for their own interests, and therefore the public interest is lost. And to that extent, no, it's been a failure. But having failed, how do we move forward? Keep in mind, NERFUND is not the only DFI we've had in Nigeria. There are many of them. And frankly, their impact is not felt anywhere. And the reason is because the manner in which they are, they undertake their objective is skewed. Take, for instance, you set up this NERFUND, you set up all these organizations, the development bank and all of these things, and the funds that go into these places are actually used to prop up the companies or the organizations that are owned by people that should be left on their own to seek their finances from the commercial banks because they have the wherewithal to do so. That's organizations that are already growing, people that are already from the elite class who already have access. They have access to finances, right? Instead of focusing on Nigerians that do not have access, like the artisans. Now, if you take those funds and break it down to the mechanics, to the masons, to these people who does not have access, and develop a program where they could come in through that system, get access, develop their businesses, yeah, we know. You said some of them will run away with the money, but the issue is the 17.5 billion we're talking about is money given to elites, and they run away with it as well. But I believe that you can actually have a program where these people may not see raw cash, but government might use this fund, working together with this class of people to develop the infrastructure and empower them with it. Develop shops, for instance, for mechanics. Develop shops, for instance, for welders, and empower them through those shops and let them do their businesses and repay the government through that avenue. There are ways we can do these things so that it goes to the cottage industry, the actual cottage industry, the people right there at the bottom who have no access to funds. But we don't see that, and that's why it continues to fail. When we set up these things, we pump huge amounts of money into it. The same political elites use their brothers, their sisters, their parents, everybody that have, they form companies, they go there, they collect this money, and they eat it. And then the federal government comes around and says, well, okay, it's bankrupt, so let's shut it down. And that's the issue. You shut it down, what happens to that money? And that's the problem we have in Nigeria.
I want to say this. Just last year, the federal government instituted the Development Bank of Nigeria. Now, the question is, as I'm talking to you now, the bank is recruiting. While they are recruiting, they're about to sack another development bank, that's the NERFUND, this year, October 31st. Do you think it's the right decision the federal government had made?
Of course, it's not right. You have to understand. It is even wrong to wake up one day and they have an executive order that says you are going to shut down an institution like NERFUND. That is fundamentally wrong. I think before you do that, you have to have the National Assembly get in and hold a hearing so you understand how they got from where they were to where they are now. What were the reasons, what were the things that were done that made them to fail, so that you borrow, you learn from those reasons. So when you're setting up a new one, you can take care of these problems so we don't repeat the same thing all over again. Having said that though, the development bank that has been set up is also going to fail because we have not taken from the experience gained from NERFUND. And also having said that, you don't necessarily have to shut down NERFUND in order to create this. That's completely wrong. What you needed to do is revamp it, give it a new name, retrain the workers, push them there, give them new leadership, right, and move forward from there. Because you have people there who already experienced whether they like it or not. But the issue is when you abandon these people and they are public officers, they are people that have been in public service, they have served for so long, you abandon them, you throw them out on the streets, right? That is typical of the way that Nigerian government treats its citizens, with callousness, with carelessness, and without any, any feelings about the well-being of these citizens. I think that's fundamentally wrong. They ought to have a process whereby these people are not just thrown out in the street to be unemployed, while they are also trying to employ new people for this new initiative, except of course that this new initiative, the new people that are going to come in are going to be the brothers, the wives, the sisters of the people that are in the current government. That's the only reason they're doing it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Damian Ogbonna. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
The current TV show was at the Immigration Office. This is a report we have from there. The Assistant Controller Sunday James told us that they have been working very hard in curbing corruption in the immigration system. Don't go away as I come to you with that interview. This is the current TV show, and we are right now at the Immigration Office to talk to the Assistant Controller in charge of the media, Mr. Sunday James. So you're welcome to this program.
Thank you, madam.
So according to the Section 2 of the 1999 Constitution, the federal government allows public servants to go into farming. How much has immigration contributed to encouraging agriculture?
Corruption is based on your perception, and it's also based on the corridor where you're operating from. For us in immigration, corruption is self-induced by the public. For all officers, since the assumption of duty of Controller General Muhammad Bamadidi, MFR, he has been operating zero tolerance to corruption, both in the area of our processing and service delivery. What do I mean by this? Every of our service products that we deliver to the public, we make sure that human contact is reduced. Like the passport, we'll be encouraging the public to go online, both for the payment, processing, and then when it comes to the area of collection, we encourage them to come and collect on their own without third party, just to avoid the issue of somebody going in between. That's one. In the area of other facilities like the visa on arrival and temporary work permit, we also encourage the public to go online. And we have an online address, which I can give you, oa@nigeriaimmigration.gov.ng, for the visa on arrival. That's the facility that we issue to high net worth business personalities and individuals that are frequently travel individuals. Instead of them coming to the immigration headquarters to process such documents, we encourage them to give all the requirements online, and then it is approved and sent to the airline and to the applicant online. On receipt of that approval, that is when you are entitled to approach the airline for your travel, first and foremost, because they will not even accept you with what they have for the country in the area of diplomacy and foreign relations. But in the area of bilateral and multilateral relationship or agreement that our organization sign in the areas like border management, patrol and other security related activities of our service, equipment, supply and training, we have various development partners that partner with us, like the German International Corporation GIZ, the Spanish government, Swiss government, the government of UK and US, and then Netherlands and others. We have development partners from those nations, and they partner with us in the area of training, supply of equipment, and even vehicles sometimes, to assist our border patrol management activity, patrol and surveillance.
Of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Sunday James. It's nice having you on the Current TV show. Thank you so much for joining me. Dr. Damian was here earlier to talk about the NERFUND shutdown, where he argued that shutting down the DFI was a wrong decision by the federal government. You don't have to shut down one to establish the other. No, you have to get them running, according to him, in court. So these are the things that was discussed in today's program. Just like you can see on the screen, you have the phone numbers. That's our call center. Start calling in if you want to participate in this program, you want to advertise, or you want to talk to me. So nice having you join me on this program. I'm so grateful, and I hope to see you same time, same station next week. Don't go away, and have a very good week ahead. Bye.